Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today we're going to get back on the 1975 DT175. We're going to try to straighten out some of the electrical gremlins. I've got another wiring harness. It's not new by any means, but it's a pretty good used one, it looks like. So we're gonna try to get that on, get some of this stuff hooked up, just see if we've got everything. And I also picked up a used oil pump. This one here was, it was in there, but the pulley and a couple other items were missing off of it. So I just decided to pick up another complete pump, and I've cleaned that out internally with mineral spirits, and went ahead and soaked it in oil again to make sure that everything is lubed up inside. And we'll go ahead and get that on, run the lines. We've got to replace the input line and the output line, and the banjo fitting and all that stuff that's on there. And maybe if we've got time, we'll look at the back wheel and see if there's some, the bolts that hold the sprocket on look a little suspect to me. So we'll try to get that off so I can try to get stuff ordered if I need to for that. And I'm not going to put a tire on yet, but I have a tire, so that will be coming up pretty soon for the rear. We'll just put another trials tire on it, and you know, that's what they came with. So no need to have a knobby on this machine. But anyhow, we're going to get down there and get started on that, see what we can get done today, and appreciate you guys going along for the ride. So let's get down there and get started. And if you didn't notice, I've got the XL 75 Honda frame painted. I've still got to get the swing arm done, and I think a couple other little items. I haven't done the tank yet either. I'm actually converting this thing, if you remember right, to an XR. So any parts that I can find that are reasonable, that's the way we're going to go. So let's get down there and get started on the DT175. Okay, let's look at the oil pump here. I was able to get another one, and it's got the pulley and everything on it. I guess I could probably swap the pulley over, I don't know. I'm just going to use the whole pump. You know, we've got our line here coming in, and of course it's broke off here, so we'll be replacing that. And the easiest way to do something like this is to remove the line here, put the new end on it up here, fish it down, and connect it down here after the pump's installed. So the first thing we need to do is get that off, and then we'll pull the pump. I've got the little clamp pushed up here, and really about the only way to do this is to take a razor blade and cut it. You're never going to be able to pull that off. And it may take a while to get it this way. And it's pretty old and hard anyway, so it probably needs to be replaced. I don't think I got it cut. Yeah, it's cut. There we go. So we'll get that. You know, this, if everything does work, you know, through the rubber up here on top, it looks to be in fair condition. So I'm hoping that I can get the new lines through it. If I can't, then we'll just have to pull the cover off probably. get our plug removed here, maybe. It doesn't look like it's going to want to come off either. So we'll just try to push this one down. I say it may not work, but I've had success doing it before. Sometimes you got to weigh the work that you have to do and see if it's really going to save you any time. But we'll try it. All right, so we've got our connection up here. And it's wanting to twist on me, so there. Oh, I did forget to mention that I was able to get this cable to work. I did, however, have to remake the one that went to the carburetor. It was too short, it never would have reached there. So I remade it, and I remade a top cable too, the A cable or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I just used the junction box that I had. I went ahead and reused the oil cable, the new oil cable. Those things should all be the same. But for some reason, the cable that went to the carburetor was too short. It would have never gotten there. So I made this cable new, and I made a new upper cable. And I was able to bend this piece here that was bent, and everything works as it should. Opens all the way, closes all the way. So we're in good shape there. So hopefully, I'm just sure all these cables here are the same. It was the right part number for this bike, but you know, maybe the upper cable, or not the upper cable, but the throttle cable going to the carburetor got switched or something. I don't know, but we're good now. Okay, so now we've got to try to get this one up out of there. All right, and we'll just make a new one the same length, and we'll go ahead and attach this end here, and then we'll attach the oil pump in when we get it through there. And I'll just go ahead and clean this. This has still got the old paper gasket off of the banjo fitting. You know, these things really, unless you abuse them, they last forever, so there's no reason to replace it. Just clean it up and go for another one. And we got this side clean too. So I'll try to get this clamp off there. And we may have to cut this one too. Yeah, it looks like it. Boy, even when you cut them, they don't want to let go. There, okay. So we'll make the other hose the same length, and we'll just clean. I'll shoot some brake clean into this and make sure it's free. And we've got the new hose. That's kind of a special size. So we'll just go ahead and measure this to be the same length. a lot more flexible. And we've got the new little clamps, so we can get our banjo fitting on. There. And then this thing, you kind of got to open it up as you slide it up. Easier said than done, but we're heading that direction. Much easier if you get it over here and get it held so you can deal with it. Just use a pair of pliers to work that on. Once you get it started, then it'll go ahead and open up on its own. There, that should do it. Okay, we've kind of got this wiped off. Blow it out there, kind of get it clean. I'm going to try to get the little one in first. Let me just see how it kind of feels, whether I want to put some slickum on it or not. Yeah, I think some slickum will work. I'll put some Ruglide on that piece. You don't want to put it on the cable or the hose, because you got to be able to push it. Okay, I think it's going. Yeah, all right. All right, that's going in pretty easy. Let me grab some other pliers. Okay, you can get some pliers like this, and you can reach up in there and grab that thing and kind of pull it and push it at the same time. There we go. And might have had some dirt there, so I'm going to blow through it from the okay. Looks okay. So what we'll do now is go ahead and get the pump off. And I'm sure we're going to have a gasket to scrape. This one's not as deep in there as the older units. Okay. Yeah, it looks like part of it broke off here, but I've still got, well, looks like underneath it I think you can see at the bottom here, the gasket pulled off, and right here at the top. So I've got the two ears there to deal with. And you just got to do whatever you can do to get in there to get it. Well, that didn't turn out to be too bad. I got a little hair I got to get yet. And we'll just try to get some of this crap out of here. I just hate putting things back together dirty. Get some new gasket on there. And we get our replacement pump. All right, there she goes. Sometimes you'll have to turn that crank in order to get that pump to go on this way. Still got to make sure that gasket is in the position it needs to be in. And get your screws in. You want to make sure that pump is seated before you tighten anything down. Otherwise you could break the ears off. Let's see if our cable's gonna go in there. Yeah. That looks good. Let's try to get our other hose through. Okay. I know a lot of people don't like this yellow hose, but I like to see the oil and the fuel for that matter. So I just, it's it's up to me, so I kind of like to see what's going on with it. So we get that through, and the thing is this Tygon hose will just about last forever without getting hard. And you don't want to forget your little clamp. Okay, so that's down. And again, we've got to work that go at it slow and get it going. That thing will stretch right out there and go on. Kind of got it started. There we go. I'm not trying not to squeeze that cable, or not the cable, the hose. Just trying to work that clamp down. There we go. And you probably couldn't see yet. There it is. Now we need to get that supply hose back down here. There. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the bleed. And I've got my Yamalube here. I'll go ahead and start giving it some until I get her coming out the hole there. You can see it coming down here now. Now I'm just going to let it run. Hopefully there's enough to, oops, sorry. Hopefully there's enough to fill the cavity. No, not going to be, I don't think. There it is. I should have kept going. Okay. I think we're got all the air out now. So I'll go ahead and get that back in there. Okay. And we'll just let this kind of drain if it wants to. I don't want it to run out the other end though. Okay, at this point I'm going to go ahead and hold the throttle open so the pump is wide open, and then turn this in the direction of the arrow, which is down like this. And we're going to keep going until we see oil come out right here. Okay, there it is. So now we'll get our, I've got the new washers here. These are the good copper ones. So let me get them debagged and we'll get that tightened up. So we'll just see how the pump does. They usually, when I get used ones, they usually work okay. We'll do a test on them to make sure everything's as it should be. And we'll go ahead and adjust the pump and everything down here. I've got to look up some criteria and see what that's, see if it's the same as the older bikes. Okay, the one thing I notice here that is a lot better is you can get to this. This well is not as deep as the 69 through 73, so you can readily get to this this nut right here. This has got a little rust on it, so I'm going to get some crawl oil on it and let it soak for a while, and then we'll. I really can't see what's going on behind this thing, and I need to see that plunger mark there. Okay, I've just moved this little plate up, and I'm going to go ahead and adjust the cable here. Now we'll have to go through the cable adjustment after we get an idle on this. But for right now, I just want to line up my pin. And in order to do that, I've got to okay. And I've got this adjusted so the pin is in line with the little raised area on the pulley there. So we'll get that locked down, and that will check after we get done, because I'm sure it'll stretch pretty quick. So just like with all the throttle, all the cables, you know, everything will be new on this, so we'll have to check it again pretty shortly after we install it. So at this point, I'm going to check the gap. And what we need to do is we need to see this come out the furthest, and we'll see what the gap is right here. So we'll turn this until we get the widest point. It's right there. And it should be a minimum of 8 thousandths. And that's looking about right. Yeah, okay. So we're good on that. So that's our minimum stroke. So the rest of it we'll take care of after we get it running and idling correctly, so we can take all the slack out of the cables, and then that way we'll make sure the pump is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So I'll go ahead and pull this little cover back down here where it was. Tighten it up. Okay, here's the harness, and I got just about everything I needed, I think. I didn't have the regulator. I didn't have the flasher, although that one probably won't work. Usually they don't. And I think the fuse box was missing, and the brake light switch was missing, and all that came on the cable. And as far as I can tell, it hadn't been cut or anything, so it's in good shape. So I've got some other issues that play into this. Number one, the left-hand switch up here. I thought it was just missing some parts, but it's really trashed pretty bad. So we need to go up and take a peek at that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But we've got, let's see, this end here will all go in the headlight. So that's the big wad that I was talking about, getting through there first. So it just makes sense to always put the biggest thing in the rabbit hole before you put all the little things in the rabbit hole. So that's what we'll do. And I believe most of these Yamahas, the wiring harness goes in on this side. Not sure on this one. We've got a lot of cables and stuff coming in on this side, but I think that it probably goes up through there and then comes down. Not real sure. I did just get a tail light for this. Thanks, Larry. Larry sent this over to me. He contacted me on Messenger and said, think you need a tail light, and I got one. And he sent it over. Needs a little work to clean it up, but it will work just fine. The problem with, I already had one that was a 73, I think, and it's shorter. See, this one here goes all the way up to that mounting place. And the other ones would mount here. So then you would have to dig out this to put your wire through, and it just isn't the right one. But he sent this one over, and I sure appreciate it. We'll clean it up and we'll get it on there. Okay, let's take a look at this switch. Before we were just looking here, I thought maybe I had some of this stuff, and I do, but I don't have this one. Just, you know, that kind of stuff is hard to find by itself. But anyway, right here is kind of the deal breaker. This is all broke out right here. That's where your signal light switch bolts down to, and then it wiggles back in here, moving this back and forth. So this is pretty toast. Actually, I'll be able to use parts out of this one now, but that's, you know, you might be able to JB weld that and rethread it. I've had some luck doing that, but for $34, I got this one. This is brand new. It's an aftermarket. Let's take a look at it from a little further away. And it does everything this one does, or supposed to do. Like I say, the switch is missing here, and the knob is missing up here. So we've got everything here that we need. And let me get you back a little bit further. Okay, everything was looking pretty good, and it still is, till I looked at this, but it really still is. You can see that the connectors are a little different. You've got round pins in the original, and you've got kind of an odd shaped pin here. But as I got to looking at it closer, this connector will connect, and I measured the pins, and they will be a tight fit into there. They were actually 92, I think it was, 92 thousandths. And this one's about 94. Or the drill bit is, rather. So that's not a big player. I think these are going to go in there and work just fine. It does hook up into the female connector just fine. And I looked here, and you know, we can always move these around if we need to. But if I've got this setting in the same position, like there, or do I? Yeah, I do. Okay. So you can see a green and a white here. Green with a white tracer and a brown. Their brown is a little lighter. They're using a blue with a white tracer here. And then we've got a white and a yellow. And we've got white and yellow there. And then on the bottom, we've got a green with a white tracer and a green with a red tracer. And that's what we've got there. So I'm thinking we're probably just about right. And we can look at the rest of these. And the colors may be off just a little bit here and there, but I believe we've got most of what we need. And we've even got a double here. This was a green, but I believe it's blue on this one. But it's sold to actually fit these bikes. I believe yeah, see, it's for the DT 100, 175, 250, 360, 400. So it's 34 bucks from 4-in-1. So we're going to try it and see if it will work as it is. If it doesn't, then we can move some wires around, because we have all the same functions here. So we'll probably just plug it in and see if we've got everything we need. If we don't, then we'll have to maybe rewire a couple things or something. But I think it's going to be pretty close. Like I say, it's sold to fit this, so we'll just see. Okay, let's see if we can get, let's see, I don't think I need to be shoving that piece through there, so let's see what we can do here. That connector there just about takes up the whole hole. that's all of that one. Okay, I think I found a home for everything there except this green with a yellow tracer and the brown. Pretty sure the double brown is going to be signal lights, and this one may be too. I thought those usually were just a solid light green, but that's all I've got left, so I would think there would be two of those, but anyhow, some of the wires are a little different color coming off the new switch. We'll just have to see how they play out. We've got our horn located down here. I had a little trouble finding the home for that, and then finally did. It had the bracket on it, so it finally showed up. I just had to look and look and look. Okay. So I've got the main harness coming up through this little harness catcher there, and that's going to go under, and that one will go under. That's your switch, ignition switch, so that lines up about right. The regulator looks like goes right up in here. It's got a little bracket for it there. And then we've got the coil that'll hook up here. Of course, the signal light flasher right here. It'll go on that bracket right there. Now this is where I kind of had some difficulty figuring out where it went. We've got to keep it away from the muffler, so I didn't think it went under. So I think this is how it goes. If anybody knows and can help me there, please do. But I think that's going to go right along in there. Of course, the battery fits on the oil tank right here. So we've got our two drops here for our positive and negative. And over here is the fuse. And down here we've got the connection going to the engine and then up to the harness. And this here, I believe, is the hot wire here. And then we've got our switch for the brake. I've got that already attached down here. This is going to need repaired. These are they're bare, so we need to do something with that. This one not so much, but this one here we do. Oh, wait a minute, there's a, looky there. That's the green with a yellow tracer. So, this one, does it not have a, it doesn't, but it's supposed to. You can see the little switch for the front brake right there. So that would make sense. So that's going to be this wire here for the front brake. So it's going to be activated up on the handlebars, but it's the same color as this one, so that's kind of what led me to that. But I don't have any, I don't know. Let me look. Maybe I have that stuff. Okay, there it is. It looks a little worse for the wear, but I'll pull that apart and see if I can figure out how to get it stuck back in there. So here's our wires for that end. One's brown, go into here, and then our green with a yellow stripe goes right in that one. So that's for the front brake. our front stoplight. Okay, so that kind of leads us with the brake light, running light. Here's the, I believe it's the brown and the green should be for your flashers. And so we need the blue, black, and yellow. Let's see what Larry's got here on this. Yep, yellow, blue, and black. Yeah, we'll do some cleaning up on that and see if we can get that a little more presentable. But we'll have to make a short little harness from here back to the tail light, about 15 inches long probably. And right now I'm not going to worry about signal lights. I've got a box full of that stuff, but right now I want to just kind of concentrate on getting the bike back together. So I'm thinking probably the next thing we need to do, oh, I did get a intake boot to go up here. I was going to get new clamps, but by golly, those clamps are, I believe they're $13.50 a piece. So I kept digging around and I found two that I believe will work. It's really funny what some of that stuff cost, and for whatever reason, I don't know. And it looks like right here we need to get a screw in here for our neutral. That's missing. Okay, so everything is, we just need to look and see what we need to do here. I see a crack in that, so that's probably the switch. So I'm probably going to have to find one of those. One thing I need to do before I button up things up here is get another set of handlebars. This one you can see is bent up on this side. I think it's just bent up. You can see the crinkle in the chrome right here. But I keep these bars. They're kind of a universal Enduro bar, I think. So I'll run out and see if I can find one of those, and we can go ahead and get that replaced before I put grips on or anything like that. But it looks a lot better with the glass and the speedometer, and I do need to go ahead and put that one insulator in, so I'll have to take this back off. I'll be getting this wheel off, and this is a little scary to me here. I don't think these bolts are right. It may be, but you can see here where this one, the washer is sitting on top of the clamp, or the snap ring. So I don't think those are right. I really think they should have the bend over tabs to lock them in. So I'm kind of scared what's, yeah, and I bet that's supposed to have rubber insulators in it, and it doesn't. Okay, or it's not moving anyway. So that's scary. We want to get this wheel off and get it cleaned up, and we're going to have to fix something here. I just know it. That sprocket's kind of bad shape too. I still haven't got the pressure washer out and cleaned all this up. A lot of it's just mud. But as of right now, I'm just trying to get some stuff back on here, and you know, because they took all of it up. The wiring harness was completely gone. It just it was unwrapped. I really thought I was going to have to deal with that, but I didn't. All this this is even got the part number on it up here. And looks like we're going to have to deal with getting the broke off screw out of the muffler there. This one I put in new. It was missing, but these are supposed to have the big heads like that. And I've got a few of those with the insulators underneath them. You know, this one is toast, that one's toast. Yeah, just well get them all. Okay, just kind of worried about that, so we'll see. Well, I guess it's in good shape. I'll go ahead and pull the snap ring off and pop this up, and we'll see what that looks like. Well, I think everything's okay. I just don't think those are the right bolts. I may be wrong. It just seemed like they were kind of over the with the washers. So I'm kind of afraid maybe these are not even metric. I think that's the next thing I should look at. Let me check that. Yeah, that's the deal. This is a 8mm here, and it won't go. It just starts, and this is a 5/16, and it screws in there. So maybe you're going to have to find one of these that hadn't been molested, or drill them and helicoil all these. I don't think I can just run another 8mm tap through it. I just don't think the threads will be deep enough. But anyhow, we can clean this wheel up and go ahead and get the tire changed on it. This, what is this, 400? Pretty big for this bike. Yeah, it's a recap. Yeah, see, you can see this. I can't really see the whole thing, but I can see underneath this rubber the size of it. But I can't see anywhere on this wheel or tire what size. This is a recap. They put this whole knobby portion above it. You can see the line right here. Ching ching. I haven't seen a lot of these recaps for bikes, but I have seen some. It actually looks like it's a 350. This looks like maybe that's what that is. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a 350. And we're going to put a 350 back on it, but it's going to be a trials tire. Good old golden boy. Okay, I went out and grabbed a set of handlebars. This is what I use on the Enduros. They're actually firepower. You just take these off. And they're actually very close. They've got a little bit more sweep down here, and they're a little longer. You can cut them off. But for the most part, the height is about the same. These are, I've gotten them from different places, but they are 18-98-106, and they're made by Firepower. And I believe I get these from Rocky Mountain, or I've even got them from Summit Racing. They're a dealer for them. And usually I haven't bought any in a while. I usually buy 3 sets at a time. And I think when I do that, I get them for about $35, $36 a piece. But they're a real nice handlebar, and the bend is a lot like the original Enduro. And if you just cut them off, I think about 1.25 inches or something like that, they're just almost identical. Okay guys, there you have it. Made quite a bit of progress on the DT175 today. Got our oil pump on. I think it's going to work okay, but we won't know until we get it running, get the final adjustment on, and then we may, just depending on what it smokes like, and all the normal things with one of these, we'll, if it doesn't seem right, then we'll do an output test and see what it's actually putting out, and if that's up to spec. We've got most of the wiring at least on there. Not all hooked up yet. I've got to change some connectors and kind of spiffy it up a little bit. And we've got to make the taillight wiring harness. And Larry, thanks again for the taillight. I just got that today. I think you shipped it to me a couple days ago, and it got here right away. So I can go ahead and get that cleaned up and get it on there. But I sure appreciate it. Thank you. And we've got the back wheel off. I was worried about those bolts, and it was a good thing I was, because they're not right. Those look like fender bolts off of a car or something to me. And I could tell that washer was overhanging, and it just wasn't going to work. And we found out that they are 5/16 or maybe it's 3/8. I can't remember, but they're not 8mm. I need to look it up. I think they're supposed to be 8mm 125, but I want to look before I mess around with it to make sure that it's not 1.5 pitch. Most of this Yamaha stuff is 1.25. But every once in a while they throw you something different, so you got to look. So anyhow, I can now go ahead and get sprockets and chain ordered. I've got the tire, so I'll go ahead and get that. The next time you see another video on this bike, you'll probably see a little bit of that tire swap, and you know, I may just show the whole thing. I don't know. So if you don't like to watch people change tires, you know, you can fast forward. But anyhow, I think we're getting there. Got a few little parts to try to find for it, and then I think we can. I really need to get it cleaned up, but I just haven't got there yet. I think my pressure washer is too far back in the back of the shed, and I just don't want to take all the crap out to get to it. So what I may do is when I get that tire back on and some of the other stuff, I'll just take it to the car wash and do it. So you know, if I use the pressure washer now, I'll have to winterize it too for the winter, because you know it's almost here. Anyhow, hey, thanks for going along on the ride. See you next video.